everybody, Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News Podcast for mid-February 2016. It's the middle of February.
Well, today is actually Valentine's Day.
It is, but not
by the
when they're
time
gonna
they see it, well, we don't know.
No, and it's also the middle of the polar vortex.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
feels like it here. Was it 9 degrees this morning?
4
degrees?
Fahrenheit.
And
that was minus 16 centigrade.
And then with the wind chill, it's probably way below zero.
Yes, it was way below zero. It was the coldest Valentine's Day in 100 years.
Really? Wow. Well, that's a good thing global warming
is here.
Yeah,
it's a good thing that we're so warm.
Because what would it have been like before global warming? It must have been really cold.
I have a story about that.
You do?
If you'll just stay quiet for like 10 minutes,
I don't think I can.
Yeah, well, try your best, please.
No.
Now, because you know what?
What?
It's my first story. But it's a little complicated, so I don't know if it's going to sound right. So don't laugh at me. Because the sun is in the midst of its quietest period in more than a century. And that means that there's an 11-year cycle, yes, and we're currently in cycle 24, which began in 2008.
Even though it was an 11-year cycle. We're in 24?
That's what I'm saying. It's cycle 24, which began in 2008.
Okay.
And they said if the current trend continues, then the Earth would be headed for an ice age. Gee, where have you heard that before?
I keep reading your stuff, and then they reformat it to make people confused and they don't recognize it.
Because we've had the smallest number of sunspots in this cycle since cycle 14, which reached its maximum in February of 1906.
Okay.
Now, wasn't that also the year that the San Francisco earthquake happened?
I think so.
So maybe we have another one.
Maybe we're getting set up for that.
And it said the sun's X-ray output has flatlined. Could be like the sun's brain dead.
Doesn't make sense.
Is that what it means?
How can it flatline?
I don't know. Anyway, it says during the solar max, huge sunspots and intense solar flares are a daily occurrence. You could even have an aurora in Florida. But those people kind of have it every day, because they have strokes and everything. So they kind of get that anyway. And then the radiation storms knock out satellites. But, now listen to this. The longest minimum on record, which was called the Maunder minimum, was from 1645 to 1715, and that's an incredible 70 years of minimum. And at that time, there was a little ice age.
Yeah, I reported on that little ice age before.
And so many researchers are convinced that the low solar activity, in concert with increased volcanism and changes in the ocean's current, would help create that ice age.
Again, right?
Yes. Now, here's where it gets also confusing. It says, predictions from the model suggest that solar activity will fall by 60% during the 2030s to conditions last seen during the mini ice age from 1645. So it's going to be really much colder.
Well, you know what? This is what they do. They say 2030, but the next thing they'll say, 2020, then up 2018, it's here.
Well, it is here.
Well, we know
just
that.
Step outside and you'll see.
Yes.
Anyway, that's what I've been telling everybody for years. So here we go. It's now proved. Now let's go.
But before you go there, do you know that they named the new winter storm that's now approaching us?
They did?
Yeah, I just read that.
There's something approaching us?
Yes, it's a new winter storm.
What?
And it's called Olympia.
Olympia, that's like from the capital of Washington State.
And it's also Greek. Is it a Greek goddess? Olympia.
It's Greek to me.
Yeah. Not Roman, it's Greek.
I guess. I don't know.
Like in mythology, Olympia is a goddess. So it's...
like Olympus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greeks use a lot of pus. Olympus, tetanus, like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to the Middle East. Saudi Arabia will send jets to a Turkish base to bomb ISIS. Now, Turkey and Saudi Arabia might even launch a ground operation against ISIS. But here's the thing. Russia, which is bombing a lot of places in Syria, suggested it may not stop its airstrikes, even though there's supposed to be a cessation of hostilities next week. And they say, well, maybe we won't stop. And that's because they're very much against Turkey. I just want to say something. Turkey's foreign minister said that Russia was targeting schools and hospitals in Syria, which I really don't believe. But Syria has become a battleground. Actually, instead of Russia and Turkey having a war with each other, they're fighting each other in Syria. Because as you know, Turkey shut down that Russian plane, and Russia shut off their gas and oil and tourism to Turkey. Now, as we know, Erdogan, who is the head of Turkey, he wants to start a new Ottoman Empire, and Putin wants a new Soviet Union. So there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Well, some people say that's where World War III will begin.
Well, I think already we're in World War III.
That's
but
what most
but
people
also, Turkey is blackmailing the EU because they threaten to send more refugees to Europe from Syria unless the EU paid them like millions and billions of dollars. So that's blackmail. And Turkey allowed European jihadis to pass through their territory to fight in Syria. So Turkey is like, you know what? I don't trust them. Sorry.
There's a lot of stuff going on there.
They're not being true. Now, here's my favorite story. Trump. Can I talk about Trump?
Your Trump card.
Because you don't look very happy about my next story.
I don't care about your next story.
Well, Trump says, I loved when he says things. Bernie Sanders is a communist, which is kind of true. And Jeb Bush is gutless and asleep at the wheel. Yeah. You think I'm not politically correct? And he said Trump says about Jeb Bush, he's nothing anyway, and he's not going anywhere. In his own way, he's a vicious guy. You know, he's got that little vicious streak because he's a gutless guy. Well, why don't you just say how you feel, Trump? You know, really.
Well, they like having all this political back and forth animosity. That's what makes people listen.
But then Jeb Bush says to Trump that he felt he hit the lotto when he was born 63 years ago, when he opened his eyes and looked into the face of his father and his mother. And he thinks his father is the most wonderful man on the earth. Well, I guess if you like reptilians, shape-shifting reptilians.
Well, they're the same. I mean, he has to like his own species.
And he says that his mother is so wonderful, so Trump says, why won't your mother run for president? Yeah, that's hilarious. Trump is really funny.
His writers are good, and he's a great actor.
Yeah, and then did you see Saturday Night Live skit where they made fun of Hillary? They had these people sitting at a restaurant talking about who they're going to vote for, and one was for Bernie Sanders, and no one wanted Hillary. Then the doors opened up, and a piano comes in with Clinton, Bill Clinton playing the piano, and Hillary on the top singing I can't make you love me if you don't, from Bonnie Raitt. It was hilarious. I like Saturday Night Live. Anyway, let's go back to Russia.
That'd be nice. I like Russia when we visited there.
Yeah, I like Russia. But you know who also? I like Putin, as everyone knows, whether it's politically correct. But Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, whose name means bear, by the way, he said that the relationship between his country and the West could be described as a new Cold War. So look, we have a new Crusades, we have a new Cold War, all this stuff. We have a new Ice Age.
New world religion.
Everything old is new again, as they say. And he said, NATO's policy with regard to Russia has remained unfriendly and opaque. Well, that's true. One could go as far as to say that we have slid back to a new Cold War. Almost on everyday basis, we are called one of the most terrible threats, either to NATO as a whole, or to Europe, or to the United States. Well, yeah, we hear that all the time. And he said it was due, at least in part, to the Western view of Russia's annexation of the Ukrainian peninsula of Crimea and its support for the separatists in eastern Ukraine, which, as I have said, Crimea was part of Russia till 1954. So it is Russian, and eastern Ukraine is like 90% Russian. So, people need to... And remember, Ukraine... Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, was the head of the Russian Empire.
And Ukraine means?
Ukraine means borderland.
There you go. They've got it all figured out. They just come to us, we're going to fix all the political crises.
Why don't they just listen to me? They need to listen to me. And so, of course, the Western countries have questioned Russia's involvement with Syria, but Russia says it's attacking terrorists. So, Now let's see what happens with Russia and Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about earthquakes.
Then a
You
few
like
of those.
earthquakes?
Yeah.
I like earthquakes.
Lots of power.
Because just yesterday there was a 5.1 earthquake in northwestern Oklahoma, where there's not supposed to be a fault line, by the way. And it was felt in 7 other states. In fact, it was felt across Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, New Mexico, and Texas. Think that's enough? Of course, it also was felt in Oklahoma. And then a second quake measuring 3.9 struck 10 minutes later, followed by 2.5 in the same area. So there's been a lot more frequent quakes in Oklahoma, but this one was in a very strange area, because usually the quakes are in central or eastern Oklahoma. This was in western, which is very odd. But, as people may recall, during my previous podcast from years ago, and even in a seminar, I said that this area was part of the North American Craton, which is an old tectonic plate boundary, which is now becoming active, and will probably affect or stimulate the movement of the New Madrid fault line here in the Midwest.
Which we will feel.
Which we have felt in the past. Remember the quake we had last April or May?
I don't think I felt that one.
It was like the second biggest one in the state history.
But I don't think I felt that one.
Yeah, maybe you were
I
doing
think
your
you
up and
did.
maybe jumping up and down at the time, so you didn't notice it.
That's what I
Yeah.
do.
And speaking, let's go to your homeland. Oregon State University said that the Cascadia fault line from Northern California to British Columbia will cause the largest natural disaster in North American history any second.
You know, I've been waiting for this any second. I mean, it's really...
Yeah, well, now they're saying like almost every day about it. And they said it's worse than the San Andreas fault line in California. It'll be 9+ on the Richter scale. It'll be heavy shaking for 3 to 5 minutes, like there won't be anything left standing. And remember, well, maybe you remember back in 1700.
Yeah, I remember that.
Actually, it was on your birthday, January 25th.
Yeah.
1700. You were just
I
born.
probably
You were a newborn.
Yeah.
And that's because before you became an immortal, eternal vampire.
That's what it was.
But on that day, there was a 9+ on the Richter scale that caused most of western Washington to drop. It killed most of the forest, and it caused a big tsunami in Japan.
I remember that. I reported on that.
So you remember that.
Back in
See?
1700s,
Even as
I
an
reported
infant
on
in
it.
1700, she remembers that.
And I reported on it back then, too.
You did?
I did.
You must have been a little baby talk.
I was very, very smart. Yeah. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. It's on to me. So I told you about the winter storm now has a name, Olympia.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I wanted to tell you, because I think this is interesting since it's on Valentine's Day, as I'm reporting this, there's a British rock band, which I never heard of before, but maybe you have, called Viola Beach.
No.
Was killed. The whole band was killed in a car crash in Sweden
The
this
whole
morning.
band?
The whole band.
Oh,
Now, this
my.
was the interesting thing, because the car plunged 26 meters from the roadway into the canal when the bridge was open. It reminds me of Princess Diana. You know how her car just went right into
Do you
the
think
pillar?
alcohol was involved?
It doesn't say. But the reason this is interesting, it says that the car went through the barriers, went under the bridge, and into the canal. And it says so far there was no problem with the barrier. It was down, the lights were on, and other cars had stopped. So I'm thinking it's a ritual sacrifice.
Was it at night?
It was early in the morning. So I think it was a ritual sacrifice for Valentine's Day.
Just like the death of the Judge Scalia that died in
Yes.
Texas, and like in 2 seconds later they're already replacing him. Like, really?
Right.
Like that wasn't planned.
So that's why I said Valentine's Day is always a day of heavy rituals. So that's what I think. Viola
Yeah.
Beach. Anyway, our condolences, of course, to the family and fans.
Yes.
And then there is now a concept plane which could travel from New York to London in 11 minutes.
Sign me up.
The interesting thing is it only holds 10 people.
Oh, figures.
It travels more
But
than...
the main thing, does it hold vodka?
No,
That's the main question.
No, because this is the issue. Listen to this. First of all, it travels more than 16 times the speed of sound.
Hope they don't have the windows open.
Well, that's the issue because, you see, they don't know how the plane would slow down.
Brilliant. Let's create a plane that goes to London in 11 minutes, but we can't stop it.
Right, and then
That's brilliant.
It says it doesn't know how the passengers would deal with the intense G-forces.
Hey, sounds like a plan to me.
So that's why I said before you sign up, you need to get some facts here.
Yeah.
However,
no, let's put it this way. Before they put that in the news, they should have come up with the solutions.
I think maybe they're just going to push you out. Because here it says you can get to Hong Kong in 26 minutes and Sydney in just 32. So
Yeah, you just won't be alive when you get there.
You see, if they just go like 11 minutes London, and you're down and
Right.
so on.
We can't stop. Just jump out. We're going to hit London next, then Sydney and Hong Kong.
It won't hurt. You'll
Brilliant.
be like a rag doll because you'll be passed out from the G-forces. And anytime you're in an accident, you should never get stiff and tense. You should relax.
Well, the good news
then
is
nothing will break.
The good
so
news
remember
is
that.
it can only hold only 10 people can die. So
maybe, but at different points. London,
Yeah.
Hong Kong, Sydney.
yeah. Eventually run out of gas and it'll land.
So anyway, I just thought it was interesting. You would want to know that because you
Yeah,
travel
I think
a
it's
lot.
good to know before you get on.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's true. How are you going to get off?
Right.
Or maybe how are you going to get on
Carry
the
on
sidewalk?
only. You won't need your luggage.
And now listen to this one. This was interesting to me because it says that Google Earth showed a strange structure which was spotted by a YouTube person and then posted to something called UFO Sightings Daily. Mm-hmm. They claim that there's a 3.6 mile long spire extending from the moon out into space.
Oh, yeah,
Did you read about that?
Yeah, that's old news.
Okay, but what was interesting is that NASA...
Yeah, right. The cover story.
But they addressed it. Before they would just not address it, they just let it go away. So now they're claiming that the spire is simply an optical illusion.
Right, it's like a ridge over a crater or something like that. Right. Mm-hmm.
But they addressed it. You see, a long time ago, they wouldn't even acknowledge that anything was set. So here we are. Now this one, and it was old, like new kind of news. This is Australia. Yeah. It says that they're now trying to approve a way of vaccinating their population by air. Now, we have talked, of course, for a long time about chemtrails, but now they're talking about legitimizing it. There's...
spray the air?
They have an Office of the Gene, Gene, the Office of the Gene Technology Regulator is looking at a license application from Pax Vax Australia for the intentional release of GMO vaccine consisting of live bacteria into the environment.
That sounds brilliant again. They should team up with the people with the plane.
Yeah. Now this one they want to try just trial areas. Queensland, South Australia, Victoria, Western Australia.
Yeah, like that whole freaking country, okay.
And then they said, well, of course, they are a little concerned because maybe what if they infect wildlife and ecosystems?
Yeah, like what if people die?
So, but they say there are large pockets throughout the country where people will not vaccinate. And since the numbers opposed to vaccinations are growing, they're trying to figure out another way to vaccinate people.
Right, to sneak it in so no one knows.
Yeah, they said
thank you,
in the
Australia.
article, no needles, no fuss, no choice.
Yeah, no truth.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Now this is back up in my country again. And this was an interesting story, which we've reported on
a lot of weird stuff happens
through
in your
the years.
country.
Yes, it's very strange because of all that geographical disturbances. Anyway,
I think it's inherited.
They now, don't worry, you won't catch it.
No.
You already have that.
I already have my own.
Yeah. Anyway, so apparently they found a 16th sneaker that is washed up on the shore, Vancouver Island, with a severed foot in it.
Yeah, but that's just normal there, right?
Well, it says of the 13 feet. Now, it says it's the 16th to be found in 9 years. But then the article says of the 13 found in Canada, I guess maybe somewhere else. But anyway, of the 13 feet found in Canada, 10 have been identified, linked to suicides or accidents. Foul play is not suspected, but it's not been ruled out.
Okay, so how come that's the only place that happens?
That's
then?
right. Well, that's right. That's what doesn't
If
make
these are
sense.
suicides, like,
Or accidents.
oh, there's another sneaker, must be a
With
suicide.
a foot. And then they claim that because as the body decomposes, the foot breaks off. I don't think so.
Okay, so what happened to the rest of it?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No,
So
it doesn't.
anyway, I think this is... Tell us what you think happened, because I think this is very, very odd.
Something's afoot.
Something's afoot. Okay, now listen to this one. Now, of course, I've talked for a lot of years about the artificial womb. And, of course, this, I think, again, is a precursor. So listen to this one. There's now a new surgery that could allow trans women to carry children. Because what they want to do is they want
Caitlin.
They want to implant a uterus from one woman into another so she can give birth.
Yes.
So I think
That'll be the last time anyone does that one. Trust me.
they said
Some man's going to give birth. That'll be the last time.
that's true. They said transplants can cost hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. So therefore, they want women, to give their uterus up if they don't need it to somebody else that has a uterus who does need one.
Yeah.
That's what
I think they should be looking for brains.
They said the surgery has not been perfected, but here we have Sweden again. A lot of things are happening in Sweden these days. In Sweden, the doctors have successfully transplanted uterus from live donors, resulting in the birth of 4 children.
Oh, they have?
They've done it.
Huh.
But I think it has to
Those
do...
Vikings.
It has to do with studying artificial wombs. That's what I think.
I'd like to have my own womb.
Well, you might have your own womb, because listen to this one. Now, this
With
one
a window and my own TV in my womb.
Another fascinating story. Adult diaper market
I'm wearing mine now.
is set to overtake baby sales of diapers by 2020. Now, isn't that weird? It says
That's just in time for the Ice Age.
maybe that's why they want to do it, or to send people off
You know
planet.
it's cold. You got to peel on.
And you do.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. I'll just go on.
Anyway, it says research shows that the adult diaper sales will jump up 48% in 4 years, where the baby diaper sales will only be 2.6%. Now, they're using physically active TV stars in their 40s as a new face of adult diapers. So what does that make us?
A face of adult diaper? Shouldn't they be using the other end?
Well, that's what they're saying. Now, they're saying that at least 1 in 3 Americans suffer bladder issues as a result of pregnancy, childbirth. But right now, so far, that's just women.
Yeah.
Diabetes and obesity, among
Well,
other
also
reasons.
because women make men pissed off.
Is that what it
so
is?
they need the diaper.
But the issue is this shouldn't be happening. People in their 40s shouldn't be needing to wear diapers. I'm sorry.
No.
And then it says Kris Jenner and Whoopi Goldberg they're some of these new faces for adult diapers. Maybe they're saying they wear them. I
Whoopi's
don't
getting
know.
up there, you know.
Maybe she's whooping too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently now it's a good thing I read this article, because I always learn things when I do my research. There's now a tampon-like product for women.
Oh, I imagine men would be difficult to put that in.
Well, it would just go up the other end.
Oh.
We can make
It'd
it work.
be very painful.
I'll practice
You
on
may
you.
have to use a
I'll get
tampon.
one of these, and you can be part of the research project.
Well, you'd pay me a lot of money.
No, I'll just hold you down, sit on you, whack it in.
Oh, really? You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put you on that plane to London.
Anyway, as long as I can get off, I don't care. So anyway,
Excuse
apparently
me?
they have this new product, and what it does is it lifts the urethra of the women, so apparently then they don't leak so much. But I mean, I saw this picture, it's like, what? Anyway, this is very, very odd in my opinion. So like I said, there's no reason for 40-year-olds to need diapers. I'm sorry.
That's right. That's mostly for 60s and 70-year-olds.
Well, or
More
100-year-olds. But point is, if you do your release work and you take care of your health, you shouldn't need this stuff. This should not be happening, people. This is definitely programming of the masses.
Pisses me off.
Because it's making it sound like this is normal.
I know.
48% increase? No. So, and then they're also creating an invisible diaper that deals with more minor leaks. It's like, no, this is
But you
not
know what?
normal.
They're going to need those diapers if they're on that plane and they can't stop.
Well, that's
they're going to need the diaper.
Well, they don't care anymore, because they're just like down.
Yeah.
Anyway, now I've talked to you before about the bronies, which bronies are adult men who love the show called My Little Pony. And then it says bronies are challenging our perception of gender roles, which may be more fluid than previously thought. So Susan Sarandon, the actress,
I love Susan Sarandon.
took her son Miles Robbins as her date to a movie. I don't know if it's a movie or
Zoolander.
Zoolander, is that a movie?
Yes.
Zoolander 2 premiere. And said he stole the spotlight because he had this outfit with all these My Little Pony things stuck all over it, and the reporter went to touch it, and he basically said, "Don't touch my suit," and he was like this. Yeah. And the thing is like, I could have made that with just going to the store for like a couple of dollars and just like putting these things all over his sports coat, but he was a tough guy wearing this brony thing. So again,
tough guy wearing a brony thing, right?
It's really, really stupid. So do not participate, observe, and don't participate.
He's going to get a seat on that plane.
Well, listen to this plane. This is about Thailand, one of your favorite countries.
No, I don't like Thailand.
Because it's hot and sweaty.
And sweaty, and they're very childlike. Sorry,
but
Thai people.
Speaking of that, they have something out now called supernatural dolls. And this applies...
They've always had that.
No. This is now has to do with them. Do you know what they are, then?
They're dolls that are supernatural. Right? Hello?
Anyway, they're called Luck Tep.
Hey, you watch your language, Missy.
And the thing is they believe that they are imprinted with the spirit of a child.
Dead one.
Yeah, obviously, not a real one. Anyway, so these dolls sell up to $362, and now there's airlines in Thailand that allows them to buy, it's called Thai Smile Airways. They allow them to buy seats for their dolls.
Yeah, and then when they get on, they say, "You get out now."
No, they will serve them drinks, they will buckle them in, they cannot sit in an exit row, and they will be served food.
This is why Thailand is not a major world country.
Anyway, again, it's their celebrities, which are posting themselves with these dolls, saying that they brought them good luck. And anyway, they're adopted by their parent, and they go through this ritual in Thailand that involves implanting them with a child's soul. And it's become so popular, that other Thai
do the
airlines,
aliens want to control humans? Here's why.
Other Thai airlines are going to be doing this now. And you will remember, I have reported many times about what the original reason we have dolls. The original reason they made dolls was to host astral entities, and that is why many dolls were originally made without faces. So they could take on the face of the astral entity of which they hosted. So here as we move forward, they're again bringing this concept of dolls being imprinted with astral energies. So, and I have actually shown videos on my Facebook page, I haven't for many years, but you can probably research it out there, of dolls being left alone and then all of a sudden moving. So it's going to be very, very freaky. So here we are bringing this to the public, so much so that actually the Thai Airlines Aviation, whatever that's called, are actually looking into it.
They don't have a good reputation, hence the dead children.
Maybe.
But
they're still bringing it forward into the public eye. Now, these waist trainer things. I have talked
What's
to you.
a waist trainer thing?
I talked to you about that before where you're not paying attention.
No,
It's
I never
like
pay attention to you.
It's like a corset. This is a new thing that they're putting in women. Kim Kardashian. I made a big report, unless you were gone when I did that.
Also, it makes their butts stick out or
Well, it's
something?
supposed to. They don't really. They focus on the tiny waist.
Yeah, but then the...
Yeah, that gets bigger down here, and the top gets bigger. You know, so
Yeah.
they have this hourglass figure. You maybe you weren't here when I did that story.
No, I'm never here when you do those things.
Anyway, so it says waist trainers are the latest fashion trends sweeping the nation. Now, I will tell you, in my mother's time, these were called girdles. And my mother...
Corsets, no?
Well, in the olden times, it went from corsets and then it went to girdle. And now it's called a waist trainer. But in my mother's time, as I was growing up, my grandmother had one. My mother had one. And my generation was fighting to not deal with these things. Now they're putting them back in.
My grandmother took her 4 hours to get dressed in the morning.
Yes.
She had corset, girdle, underwear, shirt.
All this stuff.
Until she got dressed, it was like, just walking around like the Michelin man.
Exactly. So the thing is now they're doing this again. Now, this is not healthy, ladies.
Well, it's better just take their ribs out, right?
Well, they do that, and I reported on that. Were you here on that story?
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, there was a plastic surgeon who took out the last 2 ribs. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, I reported on that story, which again, don't do that either.
No.
So anyway, do
Just
exercise.
Stop eating.
Or exercise.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is they're squeezing in all your internal organs. And they're making it so you can't breathe. And so anyway, it says that the waist trainer has become a coveted item for women. Again, no, don't get them and don't wear them.
Not Christmas present this year for you.
No, you better take it back if you already got it.
So I have time.
And then this was interesting because there's an actress, Jessica Alba, reported she wore a similar corset following her 2 pregnancies to get back into shape. Now, it was interesting, after I had our first child, I asked my obstetrician, gynecologist, about wearing something like this because, my shape wasn't where I wanted it to be. And she said not to do that. She said it was not healthy and not to do it. But here now they're saying to do that. Now this one is very interesting to me.
They told me not to do it either.
Yeah.
After I had the baby.
Okay, listen to me. They said the medical doctors say it can cause harm to the body, such as discomfort, trouble with breathing, heartburn, acid reflux, etc., etc. But now this is how they're advertising it. They're saying the thermogenesis created within your body will allow your body to rid itself of harsh toxins and impurities through perspiration. While wearing a garment or waist trainer, the tight compression will help to reduce food volume intake, which will help achieve the healthier practice of smaller meals more often rather than 3 large meals a day.
Yeah, because you keep throwing up and you have no place to put the food.
And I tell you, you're not going to get rid of harsh toxins and impurities through perspiration by wearing one of these.
No.
So like I said, don't allow this trend to grow. Please do not contribute to it.
Just take your ribs out.
Yeah. Anyway, and then the last story I have about Whole Foods. Whole Foods, a lot of people call it whole paycheck and a lot of derogatory
and plus
things.
It's 35% non-organic.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Anyway, apparently now, and they've been talking about this for a while, they are going to open a new store aimed toward people who are more conscious about their bills. And they're going to call them the 365 store. And they are going to have tattoo parlors.
Oh, how wonderful.
Now, of course, I tell you not to get a tattoo because they're filled with metals and other kinds of things in your body that go into your organs. And the more tattoos you have, the more your organs are going to fail. You cannot go oftentimes into CAT scanners if you have medical issues. Some women cannot use hair dye because, not that I advocate the hair dye, but, lesser of the evils because of the reactions to tattoos in their body. So, there's a lot of bad stuff going on with tattoos. So don't get tattooed. But again, this started out being what the thugs did, and then they kind of elevated it, and now it's body art.
So what if a woman gets a tattoo, gets that
artificial womb?
Artificial womb and the waist thing.
Yeah.
And it wears her diaper and gets on that plane to London.
Hey, maybe that's it. We got a story. A new novel. And
that
she
could
can do
happen.
it during a winter storm named Olympia.
Right. And a
How's
solar
that?
minimum.
That's right. We just have to be careful she doesn't go, off a bridge or something and wind up in a canal.
In Sweden.
Yeah. So be careful of Sweden. I'm sorry, Swedish people.
Yeah.
Oh, and what about the spire on the moon? Maybe if the plane takes
she might be holding one of her
wrong
Thai
turn.
dolls with the...
That's true.
Yeah.
That's for good luck with the dead child who's already dead.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter at this point, right?
See how we pull that all together?
Yeah, it makes so much sense
That was brilliant,
for you.
but of course it was my idea that did that.
Well, I put it in your head. My mind controlled you.
Well, a lot of things you put in my head, and I did have surgery to get them out.
You did.
But
To
that's
work
not going to
harder,
happen
put
again.
them back in. Okay, so with that said, I want to remind you that so we can clear up Stewart's head. We're going to go to on the Clear Energy Tour in June 2016.
No, you are going. I am not going.
Yeah, but you might be joining me in the midweek. Depends on how your schedule works out.
See?
So anyway, we're going to go up in the Cotian Alps. We're going to live like the Waldensian people did.
And throw rocks on the Catholics and burn the army with oil. And
There you go. And we're going to have fantastic food. I have that all arranged. We're going to visit a water factory. We're going to visit a chocolate
the factory that makes water.
Yeah, the Angronia River. And did you know that it was Waldensians who made Nutella?
Figures.
Yeah, so...
Nut. The key word is nut.
Yeah, so anyway, Jan Nut, that's my name.
Nut.
And there's a reason for it, or Jan E.T., depending upon.
Hey, arrest my case.
There you are. So anyway, we want to get signed up for that as soon as possible. The only thing is I'm waiting on is the van pricing, but we have a fabulous price on our hotel. We have fabulous things going on. We do wonderful
Good
hiking.
price on that London leg of the journey.
There you go.
On that plane, just 11 minutes, you're
Yeah,
there.
no problem. So anyway, that's up and coming. We're getting ready to announce your European schedule.
My European schedule?
Yeah, you're going to be a peon. You can have the diaper.
Yeah, I'm going to need the diaper if I go to
You are going to be a peon, right? So anyway, we're going to be announcing that very soon too.
Yeah,
So we're
I'm
just
curious myself what it is.
Finalizing that. So anyway, join our member side of our site. That's where we work with you one-on-one on a daily basis. Webinars, my self-healing webinar group is doing fantastic. My next session is starting the first week in March.
Ah, okay.
And I have a fasting webinar coming up. So be prepared for that.
I'll be sure I missed that
Yeah,
one.
I know you will. And what else we got? Oh, like our Facebook fan pages. We hit 5,000 likes, so that was pretty exciting.
Yay.
And invite your friends to like our Facebook fan pages. So anything else you have to say?
Well, just, make sure you change your diaper frequently.
Okay.
And,
Are we going to practice on developing a male one and help with the male research on the...
Oh, yeah, and men do not use tampons.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. With that said, I guess that's it.
I guess that's it. So
All
I guess
right.
we'll see you next time. Unless the polar vortex doesn't do something.
Yeah, maybe we're in that ice age.
Maybe.
We're going to be frozen next time.
Well, we'll see you next time,
Bye.
hopefully.
Okay, bye-bye.